That just runs straight through there. No sense in putting all that mud in the water. Everything's clean. Let's put it back together. The motor shaft on this is kind of rusty and gritty, all chewed up. Well, I like to clean those up because I think it makes the belts last longer. Got 3 vacuum cleaners in, 2 Dirt Devil Power Max and 1 Bissell Power Force. Today we're going to address the Bissell Power Force. We're going to disassemble it, clean it, see what's wrong with it, hopefully fix it, put it back together, and put it back in operation. I'll show you how I do it. Now the first thing I like to do, I don't want to get into a project of cleaning these and then they end up not working. So I just like to look them over, make sure everything's there. I can see this all clogged up. That's not good. And people throw these things away for no reason oftentimes. Well, I see one thing right now. Here's the lever to release it, to go up and down. And this might be why they got rid of it. The on-off switch right here, you can still do it, but the pedal's broken. So you'd have to take your finger and push that on and off, if it works. The wheels are there. They seem to work okay. And underneath, we already pulled some junk out of there. The adjustment wheels are there. Dirty, but so far so good. Other than that switch. Now what I like to do, I'm not going to run it long, but just plug it in and see if it works. If the motor's burned out, then it goes right back in the trash. Well, the motor runs. No brush turning. So we might have a broken belt, and sometimes it's just the belt fell off. So I guess I want to look at that before I start cleaning it. Make sure there aren't too many things wrong with it. To access the belt, this cover needs to come off. They're just Phillips screws, and you can just use a regular screwdriver. This is just a lot quicker for me. And if you're going to use a battery drill, you got to be real careful when you put those back in that you don't over tighten them, because all this is just going into plastic. And if you strip them out, then you gotta go with a bigger screw or mess around with it, and you don't want to do that. Dirty and crusty. Oh yeah, busted belt, which isn't a big deal. See if the height adjustment's working. So to take that out, here's high, there's low, and to take it out you just turn it past high, like that, and then you can pop it out. Okay, that seems to work all right. And of course, you have to have this tilted back for the height adjustments. And then you can adjust the height. That's high. You can see it drops down to low. I'll go ahead and clean it. You'll see how to disassemble it, and we'll go from there. You probably know how to do this. You just push this button to take this off, and you can empty it out, pushing that button there, and you dump that out, which I'm going to do. And you can also open this up on the top, pull that tab back, pop that open. There's supposed to be a filter in here. Another bad on this. And there's instructions on the back how to do all this. Here's the tank unlock, lock, unlock. So you just twist this. You can pull that out. Clean this pre-filter. turn that, that pops out. There's just two tabs that go in those two holes there. Locks that on. Of course, the motor's under here, so I got to be careful when I'm cleaning this. And there's a washable filter down here, they say. Well, let me show you while I got this tipped. To take these wheels off, you just tip it back and tip it down like that. And you see these knobs here? They just slide in there. And when it's tipped up, they don't come out. But if you tip it like this, then you can pull it out. Now we'll go back to this washable filter here. Just pull that out. Oh boy, look at that. Mercy me. That needs a washing, doesn't it? This thing might not have had any sucking power because of that. So you want to take that out and clean it. Now the motor's here. The cord rewind is all up in here. But when I clean this, I'm going to be a little aggressive cleaning it because this thing's such a mess and it's not perfect. So I'm going to wash all this, but one thing you want to try not to get the motor too wet. And I would imagine this cord rewind has a spring in there and you probably don't want to get that wet either. To take the brush off, all you do is pull it straight out like that, and we'll clean that up too. Cut the hair off of here. And the round side, you can't miss it. That's round there. And then there's a rectangular slot on this side and it fits in there. Now basically the only other thing, the motor's in here, and sometimes this tube here will get clogged. That's your suction. And it comes up here, goes into this tube. You can disconnect this, of course you know that, and hook up your attachments to it, which is a handy little deal. And then this hose screws in here. You just turn it counterclockwise a quarter turn, and that pops out. And we'll make sure that this hose is clean all the way through. And I'm looking down through it, and it is clean, but I want to rinse it out anyways. People that run over bobby pins and stuff, they'll get in here and get stuck like this, and then all the lint and everything that people pick up will start forming around that and clog this all up. I'm going to shoot some water through here. I doubt this is clogged, but if it is, then I just take this screw out and I can drop this down and work on it more. But that's about it for breaking this down. Now I'm going to get rid of my power cord and we're going to wash all this stuff. I'm going to wash this first because the motor's in there and I might get a little water in there, but it'll let it dry out then. Like I said, you can flush this out. That just runs straight through there. Gotta be careful of that motor. If this was a real nice machine, I'd be very careful about washing around there. I'd probably do this by hand. And I just have soapy water, Dawn. Now, I've got some WD-40 here, and you might say, wait a minute, that's carburetor cleaner. Now I made this can because WD-40 is so expensive now in a little can like this, but you can buy a gallon a lot cheaper. And I made a video. If you look in the top right corner, you can click on that and check that out, how I made this can. Very handy. Anyways, I'm going to spray this on the switch. I'm going to spray it around the motor and also in here, and it'll repel the water and dry that out. And spray it in here. And actually the WD-40 went through there and down into the area where the motor is. So I'm good. And I'm just going to wipe that off. And we'll set that aside, let it dry out while we wash the other parts. And this I'm going to hose off first. No sense in putting all that mud in the water. Everything's clean. I think we've got all our parts. The belt's a little bit of a question, and the switch, but that's not a problem. I can get a switch, or they can work with it the way it is. Let's put it back together. And the reassembly is just going to be the opposite of assembling it, of course. Nice and clean. And I want to point something out to you about the roller brush. I told you there's bearings in there. Some models, you can pull this cap off. And some you can't. This one doesn't come off, but I can see there's some weep holes around here, so you can lubricate the bearing. A lot of people have 3-in-1 oil around. You could put some of that in there to lubricate that bearing. Same thing on the other side. There's some weep holes in there. You can lubricate that bearing. I like white lithium grease, and the reason I like that best is because this will attract dirt. And when the dirt gets in there, it's like sandpaper. Well, the white lithium grease does not attract dirt like oil would. So I'm just going to spray a little of this in here. Press it in and wipe off the excess. Spin it a little bit. Do the same thing on the other side. That greases that bearing. And it'll make your roller brush last a long, long time. And it wouldn't hurt to do this once in a while. At least every time you change the belt. Now when I repair a vacuum cleaner, I always check the belt. And this belt has some real thin spots. There's one there, and there's one there. And I think they're caused by the roller brush getting caught or the belt slipping. But you can see the motor shaft on this is kind of rusty and gritty, all chewed up. Well, I like to clean those up. I'm not recommending that anybody do this. I'm just saying what I do, because this can be a little dangerous. What I do is take a piece of sandpaper. This is 150 grit. You could go a little finer than that. You could even go 400 grit. But I like to clean that shaft up because I think it makes the belts last longer. So what I do is plug it in and turn it on and carefully just touch that with the sandpaper. You can see that rusty dust coming up. And you can see what a difference that makes. Nice and smooth now. Was gritty and rusty and chewing up belts. Now it's nice and smooth. And again, if you decide to do this, do it at your own risk. It's dangerous. Put your fingers around moving parts. Now the belt goes around here, and here's the motor. So you just set the belt on the shaft of the motor and then put it around there. And the square end over here. There we go. Like I said, all these screws are the same for the whole thing. Okay, now we can tip her up. And the rest of this is the everyday stuff that you do. But we'll walk through it together. This just goes in here. 1/8 of a turn, locked in. Take it up, over, and connects down over there. And here's our pre-filter. We did find one. Just goes right in there. Those 2 tabs go in those 2 holes and you just twist it. So you put it where the opening is and then just turn it like that and you're locked in. Line that arrow up with that arrow, the unlock arrow, and then twist it, locks it in. Make sure this is closed. Set that on, push it back, locks in, and we'll plug it in and give it a quick test. Power on. Got a good suction there. See that little rascal go. Now let's take it in and test it out. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects online.